The first time Olivia Reed touched Damian Cross, his blood was already on her hands. 1 second, she was standing under the blinding white flashes of cameras outside the Avalon Art Foundation gala in downtown Los Angeles, holding a folder full of documents that could ruin the youngest mafia boss on the West Coast. The next second, Damian Cross was pulling her against his chest, his hand clamped around her waist. His body turned hard and fast, shielding her from the street. The world cracked open with a single gunshot. Olivia heard the bullet before she understood it. A sharp, vicious snap cut through the music, the champagne laughter, the soft voices of celebrities pretending they did not know they were standing in a room bought by blood money. Damian staggered. For the first time that night, the man everyone feared made a sound. Not a scream, not a curse, just a low, controlled breath near her ear, as if even pain had to ask his permission before entering his body. Olivia froze. His black tuxedo darkened beneath her palm. Warm blood slid between her fingers. Around them, the red carpet exploded into chaos. Women screamed. Bodyguards drew guns. Cameras kept flashing because horror always looked beautiful from the right angle. Damian's face remained calm, too calm. His gray eyes locked onto hers, cold and burning at the same time. "Stay down," he said. Olivia's heart slammed against her ribs. She had come there to expose him. She had planned every word, every accusation, every page of evidence. She had spent 8 months chasing whispers through Los Angeles courtrooms, private banks, luxury hotels, political fundraisers, and the back rooms of men who smiled for charity cameras while ruining lives in silence. Damian Cross was supposed to be the monster at the center of it all. He was supposed to be the man who bought judges, silenced witnesses, moved weapons through art shipments, and buried enemies beneath construction projects no one ever inspected too closely. But monsters did not usually bleed for the women trying to destroy them. A second shot shattered the glass sculpture behind them. Damian's hand slid to the back of Olivia's head and pushed her lower, tucking her beneath him with a possessiveness that should have terrified her. It did terrify her, but not as much as the realization burning through her mind. The sniper had not been aiming at him. The bullet had been meant for her. Damian looked over his shoulder at his men. "Rooftop across the street," he said, his voice quiet enough that only the closest bodyguards heard it. "Alive, if possible." Then he looked back at Olivia. For one breath, the world narrowed to his face. The face she had studied in court sketches, business magazines, surveillance photos, and grainy security footage. The face of a man who never panicked, never explained, never begged. The face of a man powerful enough to make wealthy people lower their eyes when he entered a room. Now that face was inches from hers. Blood ran down his arm. His jaw tightened, and Olivia saw something in his expression that did not fit the stories about him. Fear. Not for himself. For her. "Why?" she whispered. Damian's eyes darkened. Before he could answer, his knees buckled. His weight crashed against her, and Olivia caught him by instinct, her arms wrapping around the man she had sworn to ruin. The last thing she heard before the world blurred was Damian's voice in her hair. "Because they finally found you." Then everything went black. Olivia woke to the sound of rain. Not hospital beeping. Not police radios. Not the sterile silence of an emergency room. Rain. Heavy, endless, slashing against glass somewhere high above the city. Her eyes opened slowly. She was lying in a bedroom that looked too expensive to be real. Dark wood floors. Black silk sheets. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Los Angeles at night. The city below glowed in gold and red, blurred by rain, like a kingdom drowning beautifully. Her head ached. Her throat felt dry. Her wrist was bandaged. The folder was gone. Olivia sat up too fast. Pain shot through her ribs. She gasped and looked down. Someone had removed her blood-stained gala dress and replaced it with a soft gray sweater and loose black pants. Her stomach turned. She threw the blanket off and stood, unsteady. The bedroom door opened before she reached it. A woman in a black suit stepped inside. Late 40s. Calm face. No jewelry except a wedding ring. Her posture said former military or someone trained by people who did not believe in second chances. "Miss Reed," the woman said, "you should sit." "Where am I?" "Safe." "That's not an answer." "It is the only answer Mr. Cross authorized." Olivia laughed once, sharp and humorless. "Mr. Cross kidnapped me?" "He saved your life. Then he can explain that to the police." The woman's expression did not change. The police already know. Olivia stopped. What? The woman stepped aside, and Olivia saw two armed men standing in the hall beyond her. Not threatening. Not careless. Just present. Like walls. With pulses. Detective Morales was informed you survived the shooting, the woman said. He advised that you remain unavailable until the threat is identified. Olivia stared at her. Detective Morales told me to stay with Damian Cross? He said you would hate it. I do. He said that too. Olivia's pulse thudded. Detective Luis Morales was one of the only people in LAPD she trusted. He had fed her tips for years. Quietly. Carefully. Never enough to risk his badge, but always enough to point her toward the truth. If Morales knew she was here and had not stormed the building, then something was very wrong. Where is Damian? Olivia asked. The woman hesitated. That hesitation told Olivia more than any answer. He was shot, Olivia said. Where is he? Downstairs. In a hospital? This building has a surgical suite. Olivia blinked. Of course it does. The woman almost smiled. Olivia moved toward the door. The guards straightened. She looked at them. Move. Neither man did. The woman spoke gently. You are not a prisoner, Miss Reed. Olivia looked down the hall at the armed men. Then your definition of freedom needs work. A voice came from behind them. Let her through. The men moved immediately. Olivia looked toward the end of the hallway. Damian Cross stood there in a white shirt open at the collar, black trousers, and a bandage wrapped across his left shoulder beneath the fabric. His skin was paler than it had been at the gala. His hair was still damp, like he had showered too soon after surgery because weakness offended him. He looked less like a patient and more like a king who had been temporarily inconvenienced by a bullet. Olivia stared at him. You should be in bed, she said before she could stop herself. His gaze moved over her face, her bandaged wrist, the faint bruise near her temple. It was not a casual glance. It was an inventory. Damage assessment. Quiet fury. So should you, he replied. The woman in the suit lowered her head. Mr. Cross. Leave us, Mara. Mara hesitated only a fraction of a second before stepping away with the guards. Olivia and Damian stood alone in the dim hallway, with rain tapping against the glass walls and the city glowing beneath them. Olivia folded her arms. Did you drug me? No. Did you undress me? No. Did you bring me here against my will? Yes. At least you're honest. When it saves time. Her anger rose because his calm made it impossible to find a clean place to strike. You took my evidence, she said. I took a folder full of lies. Olivia's jaw tightened. That folder connects you to 3 shell companies, 2 judges, an illegal weapons route, and the disappearance of Marcus Bell. Damian's eyes changed at the last name. Only slightly. But Olivia had built a career on noticing the smallest fractures. There it is, she said. Marcus Bell means something. It means you were fed a story designed to get you killed. You don't get to say that after spending years making people disappear. I don't make people disappear, Olivia. The way he said her name made her stomach tighten. Not because it was intimate, because it was familiar. Like he had said it before in rooms where she had never seen him. You know my apartment code, she said quietly. His expression did not shift. My coffee order, my route to work. The streetlight outside my building that goes out every Thursday night. You knew where I would be before the gala. You knew someone would shoot. I knew someone might try. And you didn't warn me? If I had warned you, would you have listened? Olivia stepped closer. He was taller than she expected up close. Broader. More still. Men like him were supposed to fill rooms with movement and threat. Damian did the opposite. He became the still point everything else moved around. I would have published sooner, she said, and died faster. Silence. Rain dragged silver lines down the windows. Olivia hated the fact that he sounded certain. Hated more that part of her believed him. Who wants me dead? She asked. Damian looked past her toward the city. The same people who wanted your mother dead. The words hit her so hard she forgot to breathe. Olivia's mother had died when Olivia was 15. Car accident on Mulholland Drive. Rainy night. Bad brakes. Tragic. Simple. Closed. Whole. At least that was the official version. Olivia's voice came out thin. Don't. Damian looked back at her. For the first time, something almost human moved across his face. Regret. Don't use my mother, she said. Do not stand there with your blood on my dress and use her to control me. I'm not using her. You didn't know her. Yes, Damian said quietly. I did. Olivia slapped him. The sound cracked through the hallway. Damian's face turned slightly from the force. He did not move otherwise. Did not grab her wrist. Did not threaten. Did not even look angry. That made it worse. Olivia's palm burned. I came to destroy you, she whispered. His eyes returned to hers. I know. I still will. I know. Then why save me? Damian's voice dropped, low and controlled. Because I promised a dying woman I would. Olivia's throat closed. Damian stepped back before she could answer, as if he knew another inch of closeness would break something neither of them was ready to touch. Rest tonight, he said. Tomorrow you'll see the truth. I don't take orders from you. No, he said. You just survive because of them. Then he turned and walked away. One hand pressed briefly to his wounded shoulder. Olivia watched him disappear into the dark penthouse hallway, and for the first time in 8 months, her certainty cracked. By morning, the shooting had become a public scandal. Every major news outlet in Los Angeles had the same image splashed across its homepage. Damian Cross, shielding Olivia Reed on the red carpet. His black tuxedo torn by blood. Her face frozen between rage and shock. The headline changed depending on the outlet. Mafia Boss saves journalist who accused him. Investigative reporter targeted at charity gala. Damian Cross hero or criminal? Olivia stood barefoot in Damian's kitchen, scrolling through her phone with a strange coldness in her chest. Her apartment had been searched overnight, not officially. Not by police. The photos Morales sent showed drawers emptied, floorboards pried up, her mattress sliced open, her hard drives gone. Someone had entered her life like a blade. Damian watched her from across the room. He had changed into a black shirt, sleeves rolled to his forearms, his injured shoulder held too stiffly. He looked like a man pretending pain was an inconvenience beneath his social class. Olivia hated that she noticed. You said I could leave, she said. I said you are not a prisoner. That's not the same thing. No. She looked up. I need to go to my apartment. It's compromised. I need to see it. You saw the photos. That's not the same as standing in the ruins of your own life. Damian's gaze held hers. For one moment, he looked like he might refuse. Then he said, You have 10 minutes. I don't need permission. You need armor. 30 minutes later. Olivia sat in the back of a black SUV as 3 others moved through rainy Los Angeles around them. She had never felt more visible. Or more trapped. Damian sat beside her, silent. The city slid past in wet streaks of neon and glass. Billboards glowed above traffic. Palm trees bent under gray wind. Los Angeles looked glamorous from a distance, but Olivia knew the truth. Up close, everything had cracks. Her building was in Silver Lake, above a closed florist and a Vietnamese coffee shop where the owner always gave her extra condensed milk because she reminded him of his daughter. Now the street was lined with black SUVs. Her neighbors watched from windows. Olivia stepped out before Damian could offer a hand. Her apartment door hung broken from its frame. Inside, the place looked violated. Books gutted. Clothes scattered. Her mother's old records smashed on the floor. Every hidden compartment she had used for notes was open. Whoever had searched had known exactly where to look. Olivia stood in the middle of the room and felt something inside her go very still. Not fear. Not grief. Something colder. Damian entered behind her. His men remained in the hallway. Olivia crouched beside the broken record player. A photograph had slipped beneath it. Her mother standing beside a younger Olivia at the beach. Both of them laughing in the wind. The glass frame had cracked straight through her mother's face. Olivia picked it up carefully. Damian said nothing. Good. If he had tried to comfort her, she might have hated him forever. Instead, he walked through the apartment like he already knew its geography. His eyes touched the window latch, the bookshelf, the desk, the old smoke detector where Olivia had once hidden a backup flash drive. She saw it. You've been here before. Damian stopped. Olivia rose slowly. You knew where everything was because you've been inside my apartment. His silence was an answer. Her hand tightened around the broken frame. How many times? Enough. She laughed once, breathless with anger. Enough? To check for threats. To check for threats, she repeated. You broke into my home. I had your locks changed twice after men followed you home. You had my locks changed? The first locksmith you called was sent by Victor Hale. Olivia's anger faltered. Victor Hale, billionaire philanthropist, political donor, founder of the Avalon Art Foundation. The man who had invited her to the gala and encouraged her to confront Damian publicly. The man who had smiled like a saint while handing her access to documents that seemed too perfect to ignore. "No," she said. Damian's eyes hardened. "Yes. You're lying. I wish I were." Olivia shook her head. "Victor gave me the first lead on you. He gave you a noose and called it a lead." She turned away, pulse hammering. The room felt smaller. Victor Hale had presented himself as a reluctant source, a man tired of watching Damian corrupt the city. He had shown her bank transfers, shipping records, names. He had arranged private interviews. He had opened doors no journalist her age usually got near. And she had trusted him because he hated Damian. Because she hated Damian. Damian moved to her desk and lifted what remained of a drawer. Beneath it, taped against the underside, was a small envelope Olivia had never seen before. He stared at it. For the first time since she had met him, he looked truly surprised. "What is that?" Olivia asked. Damian did not answer. He opened the envelope. Inside was an old photograph. Olivia crossed the room and snatched it from his hand. Her breath caught. The photo showed her mother standing outside a courthouse. Younger, serious, beautiful in the way Olivia remembered from childhood memories and old perfume. Beside her stood a boy of maybe 16 in a black suit too formal for his face. Sharp gray eyes. Dark hair. Damian. Younger. Unmistakable. On the back, in her mother's handwriting, were 6 words. "If I die, protect my daughter." Olivia's knees almost gave out. Damian reached for her, then stopped before touching her. The almost touch hurt more than contact would have. "You knew," she whispered. His jaw flexed. "I knew she feared someone." "You knew my mother." "Yes." "How?" "She helped me disappear after my father tried to have me killed." Olivia looked at him. Rain hit the windows harder. "When I was 16, Damian said, his voice stripped of performance, "my father decided I was becoming a threat. Your mother was working as a legal investigator for a federal corruption case. She found me bleeding in a warehouse near Long Beach. She could have called the police. She didn't. She hid me for 2 days, stitched my side, gave me a name that wasn't mine, and told me monsters are still responsible for what they become." Olivia could barely hear over the blood rushing in her ears. "She was investigating your father?" "She was investigating the men who owned him." "Victor Hale." Damian's silence answered again. Olivia looked down at the photo. Her mother's handwriting blurred. "All these years," Olivia said, "you knew my mother was murdered?" "I suspected." "And you said nothing?" "I was 17 when she died. I had no power, no proof, only enemies. By the time I had enough power to dig, you were already a journalist, already chasing stories that made dangerous men nervous. So you watched me. I protected you. That's what you call it? That is what kept you alive." Olivia looked around her destroyed apartment. Alive is not the same as free. Damian absorbed the words like a wound he deserved. For a second, she thought he might apologize. Instead, his phone rang. He answered without taking his eyes off her. The voice on the other end was too low for Olivia to hear clearly, but she saw Damian's expression change. Cold entered the room. "What?" he said. "A pause." Then Damian looked at Olivia. "Get away from the window." She followed his gaze. Across the street, in the upstairs window of the coffee shop, a red laser dot appeared on the wall behind her. Damian moved before Olivia could breathe. He slammed into her, taking her to the floor as the window exploded. Glass rained over them. Olivia screamed. Damian covered her body with his, wounded shoulder shaking from the impact. His breath hit her neck. His hand cradled the back of her head against the floor. Gunfire erupted from the hallway as his men returned fire. Olivia felt his heart beating against her chest. Fast. Faster than she expected. "Look at me," he said. She opened her eyes. His face hovered above hers, controlled but fierce. "Are you hit?" "No." "Tell me the truth." "I'm not hit." For half a second, his control slipped. His forehead almost touched hers. Almost. Then he pulled back, rage tightening every line of his face. "Stay behind me." And Olivia realized with a strange, terrifying clarity that Damian Cross did not look angry because someone had shot at him. He looked angry because someone had almost taken her from him. The safe house was not a house. It was a glass and concrete fortress above Malibu, hidden behind cliffs and private gates, with the Pacific Ocean thrashing black beneath it. Storm clouds rolled in from the water. The horizon flashed with distant lightning. Olivia stood inside the living room, wrapped in a blanket she had not asked for, watching waves crash against rocks below. Damian stood by the fireplace, speaking quietly to his men. Every word was measured. Every order sounded final. Find the shooter. Freeze the Hale accounts connected to the shell companies. Move Mara to Olivia's office. Put 2 men outside Detective Morales' house. No one goes near the Reed files without my permission. Olivia turned. You put men on Morales? Damian ended the call. He has a wife and 2 daughters. You know that? I know everyone close to you. The words landed between them like a confession and a threat. Olivia should have recoiled. Part of her did. Another part, the exhausted part standing in the wreckage of her life, hated how safe it made her feel. You can't just surround everyone I know with armed men. I already did. That is not normal. Neither is being shot at twice in 24 hours. She looked back at the ocean. You don't get it. I get more than you think. No, you don't. Olivia turned fully toward him. You control things because you can. You buy buildings. You move people. You decide who gets protected and who gets destroyed. But my life was mine. Messy, lonely, underpaid, dangerous, whatever. It was mine. And now I don't know which parts were real. Damian said nothing. His silence gave her room to keep breaking. My source was using me. My investigation may be built on lies. My apartment is gone. My mother knew you. You knew her. Someone has been trying to kill me, and the only person telling me anything is the man I spent a year calling a criminal. You were not wrong, Damian said. Olivia stared at him. He stepped closer, firelight cutting across his face. I am a criminal. I have done things you would never forgive if you saw them clearly. Don't make me better than I am because I took a bullet. I'm not. Good. Then why do you keep saving people? A muscle moved in his jaw. I don't save people. You saved me. You are not people. The room went silent. The words should have sounded possessive, arrogant, dangerous. They did. But beneath them was something raw enough to frighten them both. Olivia held his gaze. What am I then? Damian looked at her for a long moment. Rain struck the windows behind him. The ocean roared beneath the cliff. Then his phone buzzed again. The spell broke. He looked at the screen. Morales is here. Detective Luis Morales arrived, soaked from the storm, wearing a cheap coat and the expression of a man who had slept less than anyone else in the room. He looked at Damian first, then Olivia. You okay? He asked. No, Olivia said. Morales nodded. Fair. Damian's men led them into a secure room below the main floor. No windows. One long table. Screens covering one wall. Olivia recognized her own investigation board immediately. Photos. Timelines. Bank transfers. Court records. Shipping manifests. Her articles. Her sources. Her life's work had been recreated in Damian Cross's bunker. She turned to him slowly. You copied my files. I corrected them. Olivia almost laughed. Morales cleared his throat. Live. Listen before you explode. I am way past explode. I know. Morales placed a folder on the table. But he's right about Hale. Olivia stared at him. Morales opened the folder. Inside were financial records connecting Victor Hale's charities to private security contractors, shell corporations, and offshore accounts. Some names matched Olivia's files. Others were new. One page showed payments to a man identified as the rooftop shooter, paid through a foundation grant, Avalon Art Foundation. Olivia sat down. The room tilted slightly. Victor funded the shooting? Morales nodded. Looks that way. Why would he invite me there and then try to kill me in front of everyone? Damian answered. Because your death beside me would make the city demand my arrest. Olivia looked at him. Morales leaned against the table. Think about the image. You confront Damian with evidence. Minutes later, you're assassinated. Public pressure explodes. Federal task force moves in. Hale gets to look like the grieving patron who tried to help expose a monster. And Damian goes to war defending himself, Olivia said. Damian's voice was quiet. Which gives Hale cover to clean house. Olivia pressed her fingers to her forehead. Every article she had drafted. Every source she had trusted. Every document she believed was proof. Amazi. And she had walked through it because Victor Hale had opened the door. What about Marcus Bell? She asked. Morales and Damian exchanged a look. Olivia noticed. Tell me. Damian turned to one of the screens and brought up a grainy photo of a man in his late 30s with tired eyes and a narrow face. Marcus Bell was Hale's accountant, Damian said. He started stealing copies of ledgers after your mother died. Olivia stood slowly. My mother knew him? She recruited him, Morales said. Olivia's chest tightened. Damian continued. Bell disappeared 6 months ago. Hale planted evidence suggesting I killed him. That evidence reached you through 3 sources we now believe were controlled by Hale. Olivia's voice dropped. Is Marcus dead? No, Damian said. She looked up. He's in hiding, Damian said. And he asked for you. The room seemed to lose air. Me? Damian touched the screen. A new image appeared. An old safe deposit box. A key. A handwritten note. Olivia recognized the handwriting. Her mother's. If Olivia finds the Cross file, give her the truth. Olivia stepped closer to the screen. The Cross file? Damian's face hardened into something almost unreadable. Morales sighed. Your mother's final investigation. What was it? Neither man answered quickly enough. Olivia looked between them. What was she investigating? Damian's voice was low. A private network of politicians, businessmen, prosecutors, and crime families using charities to traffic weapons, launder money, and eliminate witnesses. Olivia swallowed. Hale. Damian confirmed. And your family? Damian did not flinch. Yes. There it was. The line between them, dark and permanent. Olivia looked at the young man in the old photo with her mother. The boy she saved. The man he became. Did your family kill my mother? Damian's eyes held hers. I don't know. You don't know? No. Or you don't want to tell me? His voice sharpened. If I knew, the person responsible would already be dead. The room chilled. Olivia believed him. That was the terrible part. Morales stepped in. Bell says he has the original Cross file. But he'll only give it to Olivia. Where is he? Olivia asked. Damian answered. An abandoned church outside Pasadena. She stared at him. That sounds like a trap. It is. Then why would we go? Because the truth is there. Olivia looked at the screens, at her mother's handwriting, at the man who had built a fortress around her without permission. Then she looked at Damian. If this is a trap, I go in wired. No. Her eyes narrowed. Excuse me? No. You don't get to decide. If Bell is compromised, if Hale's men are watching, if anyone sees police equipment on you, you're dead before you reach the altar. Then what do you suggest? Damian stepped closer. His shadow covered the edge of the table. You go in with me. Olivia laughed softly, almost disbelieving. You think walking into a church with a mafia boss is safer? No, he said. I think walking into a trap without one is suicide. She held his stare. Something moved between them. Not trust. Not yet. Something more dangerous. Recognition. They both understood obsession. Olivia had built her life around the truth until it hollowed her out. Damian had built an empire around control because loss had once left him powerless. Now the same enemy had placed them in the same cage. Olivia looked at Morales. If I die, publish everything. Morales swallowed. Live. Promise me. He nodded once. Then she looked back at Damian. And if you lie to me again, I don't care how many bullets you take, I will destroy you. For the first time, Damian almost smiled. Not warmth. Something darker. I would expect nothing less. The abandoned church stood at the edge of Pasadena beneath a sky bruised purple with storm clouds. Its windows were broken. Ivy crawled over the stone walls. The cross above the entrance tilted slightly, as if even God had looked away from whatever happened inside. Olivia arrived in a black coat Damian had insisted she wear because it was lined with protective fabric. She had called it insane. He had called it necessary. Damian walked beside her, dressed in black, one hand resting near the gun beneath his jacket. His injured shoulder moved stiffly, but his face revealed nothing. Behind them, his men spread through the graveyard like shadows. Stay close, he said. I know. Closer. Olivia shot him a look. He did not look away. The church doors groaned open. Inside, candles burned along the aisle. Olivia stopped. Someone prepared this. Yes, Damian said. At the altar stood Marcus Bell. He looked worse than his photo. Thinner. Haunted. His beard untrimmed. His hands shaking around a small metal case. His eyes landed on Olivia, and something like grief crossed his face. You look like her, he said. Olivia's throat tightened. My mother? Marcus nodded. She was braver than all of us. Damian moved slightly ahead of Olivia. Marcus flinched. Damian noticed. So did Olivia. Afraid of him? She asked. Marcus's eyes darted to Damian. Everyone with sense is afraid of him. Did he kill anyone involved in my mother's death? Marcus laughed once, broken. Miss Reed, everyone in this church is standing in blood. Some of us just learned to dress better. Damian's expression did not change, but Olivia felt the air sharpen around him. Marcus held out the case. The cross file, he said. Your mother hid copies. I kept one. Hale thinks I have all of it, but I only have enough to prove the network exists. Olivia stepped forward. Damian caught her wrist. She looked down at his hand. Slowly, deliberately, he released her. The small act unsettled her more than force would have. She took the case from Marcus. What did my mother find? She asked. Marcus swallowed. That Hale was using mafia families as disposable weapons. He funded rivalries, triggered wars, then bought the politicians who promised to clean up the aftermath. Your mother was close to proving it. And her accident? Marcus looked at Damian. Olivia's body went cold. Tell me, she said. Marcus whispered. The order came through a cross-family channel. Damian went still. Olivia turned toward him. The church seemed to darken. Damian's face was carved from stone, but his eyes had changed. The calm was still there, but beneath it was something vast and dangerous beginning to wake. My father, he said. Marcus nodded. The order carried his seal. Olivia stepped back from Damian. He noticed. A flicker of pain crossed his face so quickly she almost missed it. My father died 7 years ago, Damian said. But his men didn't, Marcus replied. And Hale kept using the old channels. That's how he framed you. That's how he fed Olivia the false evidence. That's how he convinced everyone the Cross family was still controlling the network. Olivia's thoughts spun. Damian's father had ordered her mother's death. Damian had not known. Or had he? She looked at him, searching for the lie. He looked back. And for once, Damian Cross looked almost defenseless. Not soft. Never soft. But exposed. I was 17, he said quietly. I know, Olivia whispered, but knowing did not make the pain smaller. Marcus suddenly looked toward the broken stained glass windows. His face drained. Oh God. Damian moved instantly. Down. The windows exploded inward. Gunfire tore through the church. Candles flew. Stone chipped. Marcus fell behind the altar. With a cry. Damian slammed Olivia behind a pillar and drew his gun. The church became war. His men fired from the entrance. Hale's shooters moved through the broken windows and side doors. Muzzle flashes lit the saints' faces in bursts of white violence. Olivia clutched the metal case to her chest. Damian fired with terrifying precision. Calm in a way that made the chaos seem to obey him. Then Marcus screamed. Olivia looked around the pillar. 2 men were dragging him toward a side exit. The file, Marcus shouted. One of the men raised a gun to his head. Olivia did not think. She ran. Olivia! Damian roared. She crossed the aisle as bullets tore through the pews around her. She threw the metal case behind the altar and grabbed a fallen candle stand, swinging it at the man holding Marcus. It struck his arm. The gun fired into the ceiling. The second man turned toward Olivia. Damian reached him first. What happened next was fast and brutal. Damian hit the man hard enough to send him crashing into the altar steps. He disarmed him, turned, and fired at another shooter without looking away from Olivia. But the first man recovered and grabbed Olivia from behind, pressing a knife to her throat. The church froze. Damian's gun lifted. The blade pressed closer. Olivia felt a sting at her neck. Damian's eyes locked on the blood. Something in him changed. Not anger, not even violence. Terror. Controlled, silent, devastating terror. The man behind her laughed. Drop the gun, Cross. Damian's hand tightened. Damian, Olivia whispered. His gaze flicked to hers. There was so much in that look she could barely breathe. Fear of losing her. Fury at needing her. A near confession trapped behind his teeth. Then he lowered the gun. The man smiled. Damian said softly, You should have killed me before you touched her. A shot rang from the balcony. The man behind Olivia jerked and fell. Mara stood above, rifle in hand. Damian crossed the distance in 3 strides and caught Olivia before she hit the floor. His hands went to her throat, checking the cut. His breathing was no longer calm. Look at me, he said. I'm fine. Don't say that. I'm fine. Don't. His voice cracked on the word. Just enough. Olivia stared at him. There, In the burning church, surrounded by blood, smoke, shattered glass, and broken saints, Damian Cross looked at her like the world had narrowed to the thin line of red on her throat. His thumb hovered near it. He almost touched her. Stopped. Then pulled his hand away like restraint was the last piece of humanity he had left. Marcus groaned behind them. Olivia turned. The old accountant was alive, bleeding from the side but breathing. Damian looked toward Mara. Get him out. Then he reached for the metal case. Olivia caught his wrist. No. His eyes returned to hers. That file is mine, she said. Yes, he said. No fight. No command. Just surrender. He placed the case in her hands. Outside, thunder rolled over Pasadena. Inside, Olivia realized the truth had not saved her. It had only made the target on her back impossible to ignore. The Cross file was worse than Olivia expected. By midnight, they were back at the Malibu safe house, and the secure room was filled with evidence her mother had died to protect. Names, dates, payment trails, photographs, judges, senators, police commissioners, charity directors, private contractors, arms brokers, families that hated each other in public but took money from the same men in private. And at the center of it all was Victor Hale, not a gangster in a dark club, not a man with blood on his hands where anyone could see it. Hale was worse. He was clean. He bought museums, funded hospitals, sat beside governors, smiled at grieving mothers, donated to campaigns promising to end organized crime, while secretly feeding that crime like a furnace. Olivia stared at a photograph of Hale standing beside her mother at a courthouse fundraiser. Her mother looked tense. Hale looked charming. Damian stood behind Olivia, close enough that she could feel his presence but not touching. He knew her, Olivia said. Yes. He smiled at me at the gala like he had no idea. He has been smiling at victims for 30 years. Olivia's eyes burned, but she refused to cry. Not yet. Not in front of him. Then she opened the final folder. Inside was a photograph of her mother's car after the crash. Olivia stopped breathing. Damian stepped closer. Don't, he said quietly. But Olivia could not stop. She had seen sanitized photos before. Police reports. Insurance records. Nothing like this. The wreckage was twisted against a guardrail, rain shining on crushed metal. Her mother's scarf lay on the pavement. Red. Olivia touched the edge of the photo. She was alone? Damian did not answer. Olivia looked up slowly. She wasn't alone. His face tightened. What aren't you telling me? Damian said nothing. Rage sparked through her grief. What aren't you telling me? Morales, standing near the screens, looked away. Olivia's voice dropped. Luis? Morales rubbed a hand over his face. There was another passenger. Olivia felt the room tilt. No. Damian's voice was low. A child. Her knees weakened. She gripped the table. What child? Morales opened another page. Hospital transfer records. Sealed. Redacted. Then one name written in her mother's handwriting. Noah Reed. Olivia's vision blurred. That's impossible. Damian stepped forward. Olivia? No. She backed away from him. No. I don't have a brother. Your mother gave birth 2 years after your father left, Morales said gently. The records were sealed. She was afraid Hale would use the child against her. Olivia shook her head. A secret child. A brother. Her mother had hidden an entire life from her. Where is he? She whispered. No one answered. Olivia looked at Damian. His silence became unbearable. You know, Damian's jaw tightened. Tell me. He's alive. The words struck like lightning. Olivia's hand flew to her mouth. Where? In witness protection. She stared at him. You knew I had a brother. I found out 3 years ago. 3 years? He was safe. From me? From everyone. Olivia stepped toward him, shaking now. You had no right. No. The answer was too immediate, too honest. It broke something open. No, he repeated. I had no right. You let me think I was alone. Damian looked at her. And the pain in his face was not enough. Nothing could be enough. I thought loneliness was better than a coffin. You thought? Her voice cracked. You thought you could decide what truth I deserved? You thought you could stand outside my life, break into my home, watch me grieve, and decide which pieces I was allowed to have? He took the words without defense. That made her angrier. I trusted you today. she said. His eyes darkened. I know. And you still hit him. Yes. She slapped him again. This time, the room went silent in a different way. Damian's men shifted near the door. Mara looked ready to move. Damian raised one hand without looking away from Olivia. Everyone froze. Olivia's chest rose and fell. I hate you, she whispered. His expression flickered. This time, the words landed. I know, he said. No, you don't. I hate that you saved me. I hate that you knew my mother. I hate that when bullets start flying, I look for you. I hate that you make me feel safe while proving I was never free. Damian's control strained. I did what I thought would keep you alive. And what did it cost me? He had no answer. Olivia grabbed the folder about her brother and backed away. Where is Noah? I can't tell you. She laughed through the tears she refused to let fall. You still think this is your decision. If Hale finds him, I will protect him. You don't know what Hale is capable of. I know exactly what men like you and Hale are capable of. That is the problem. Damian went still. It was cruel. She knew it was cruel. But grief did not care about fairness. His voice was quiet when he answered. I am not Hale. No, Olivia said. Hale lies with a smile. You lie like it's mercy. She walked out. No one stopped her. Outside, the storm had softened into cold mist over the cliffs. Olivia crossed the terrace until she reached the edge of the property where the ocean roared below. She stood there trembling, clutching the folder to her chest. A brother. Alive. Hidden. All those birthdays alone. All those holidays pretending she did not mind silence. All the times she had visited her mother's grave and said, it's just us now. But it had not been. Someone had taken even her loneliness and made it false. Behind her, footsteps approached. Not Damian's. Mara stopped several feet away. He loves badly, Mara said. Olivia did not turn. He doesn't love me. No, Mara said. Not yet in any way that would save him. Olivia looked at her then. Mara's face was unreadable in the mist. I've worked for Damian since he was 21, she said. I have watched men beg him for mercy. I have watched him lose millions without blinking. I have watched him bury friends with dry eyes. Tonight, in that church, when that knife touched your throat, I saw him afraid for the first time. Olivia swallowed hard. I don't need his fear. No, you need the truth. Then give it to me. Mara hesitated. Please, Olivia said. Mara looked toward the dark house, then back at Olivia. Noah is in Oregon, small coastal town, new name, good family. Damian pays for the protection anonymously. Olivia's breath shook. Does Noah know I exist? Yes. The word pierced deeper than she expected. He knows? Mara nodded. He was told he had a sister. He writes letters every year. Damian keeps them in a safe. Olivia closed her eyes. Letters. Years of letters. Damian had kept them. Not destroyed. Not ignored. Kept. Why didn't he give them to me? Because the day you received one, you would have searched for him. And if you searched, Hale would have followed. Olivia looked toward the house. Through the glass, Damian stood alone in the secure room. One hand braced on the table, head lowered. For the first time, he looked wounded by something no doctor could stitch. Olivia hated him. She feared him. She wanted to understand him. That was the most dangerous part. Mara stepped back. Hale will move soon. Men like him don't wait once secrets breathe. Olivia looked down at the folder in her hands. Then we move first. Victor Hale invited the city to watch him mourn. 2 days after the gala shooting, he announced a candlelight vigil at the Avalon Art Foundation for the victims of organized violence. The press praised his courage. Politicians promised reform. Celebrities posted black and white photos with captions about justice. Olivia watched the announcement from Damian's penthouse, anger settling into clarity. He's using the shooting, she said. Damian stood behind her, dressed in a black suit, his wounded shoulder hidden beneath perfect tailoring. Yes, he'll cry on camera. Probably. And if I show up alive, he loses the martyr. Damian's eyes narrowed. No. Olivia turned. Don't start. You are not walking into another public event with Hale controlling the security. I am exactly walking into another public event. He wants you visible. Then we give him a show. Damian stared at her. There was a moment of silence. Then, slowly, something like admiration moved through his gaze. You plan to bait him. I plan to publish the Cross file live while standing 10 feet from his face. That is reckless. That is journalism. That is suicide wearing lipstick. Olivia almost smiled despite herself. Damian noticed. The air shifted. For 2 days, they had moved around each other like people sharing the same wound from opposite sides. He had not apologized again. She had not forgiven him, but he had given her the letters. A black box placed outside her door without a word. Inside were 7 envelopes. Noah's handwriting changed with age. At first uneven and childish, then sharper, more controlled. Dear Olivia, they said I can't meet you yet, but I saw your article online. You look like Mom. I think you're brave. I hope you like the ocean. I do. Olivia had read them all in silence. She had cried only after locking the bathroom door. Damian had not knocked. Somehow that made it worse. Now he stood watching her like a man at the edge of a cliff he had no right to pull her back from. If we do this, he said, we do it my way. No. His brow lowered. We do it together, Olivia said. Your way got me watched. My way got me shot. Maybe we try not being idiots separately. A beat. Then Damian said, fine. It sounded like surrender dragged over broken glass. The vigil took place the next night. Rain fell again because Los Angeles, which barely knew weather, seemed determined to become Gothic for them. The Avalon Art Foundation glowed against the storm, all glass walls and golden light. Black umbrellas moved across the entrance. Cameras crowded the steps. Protesters shouted behind barricades. Police stood shoulder to shoulder. Olivia arrived in a dark green dress beneath a black coat, the cross file hidden on encrypted drives with backup releases scheduled across 5 newsrooms. Damian arrived beside her. Not behind. Not ahead. Beside. The crowd reacted like a match, dropped into gasoline. Cameras exploded. Reporters shouted her name. Olivia, did Damian Cross save your life? Are you accusing Victor Hale? Are you working with the Cross family? Damian's hand hovered near her lower back but did not touch. Waiting. Asking without asking. Olivia stepped closer. Only then did his palm settle lightly at her back. The warmth of it went through her like a secret. Inside, the gala hall had been transformed into a cathedral of performance. Candles. White roses. Giant screens showing black and white footage from the shooting. Hale stood near the stage, silver-haired, elegant, eyes shining with practiced sorrow. When he saw Olivia, his expression faltered. Only for a second, but Olivia saw it. So did Damian. Hale recovered quickly and approached with open arms. My dear Olivia, he said loudly enough for cameras nearby. Thank God you're alive. Olivia let him embrace her. Damian went completely still beside them. Hale's hand touched her shoulder. Damian's voice cut through the room. Remove your hand. The words were quiet. The effect was immediate. Every conversation nearby died. Hale slowly released Olivia and smiled. Damian, always dramatic. You always did enjoy stages. Hale's smile sharpened. And you always mistook ownership for protection. Olivia looked between them. The hatred there was old. Personal. Hale leaned closer to her. You should be careful, Olivia. Men like Damian save things only so they can possess them. Damian's jaw tightened. Olivia felt the trap. Hale wanted jealousy, a public reaction, a headline. She smiled faintly. And men like you kill things only so you can mourn them on camera. Hale's eyes changed. There. The saint cracked. Olivia stepped onto the stage before he could answer. A ripple of confusion passed through the room. The host tried to stop her. Damian's men blocked him. Olivia reached the microphone. For 1 second, she saw everything. The cameras, the celebrities, the politicians. Hale beneath the stage, staring up at her. Damian near the front, gray eyes fixed on her like he could hold her in place by will alone. Olivia took a breath. My name is Olivia Reed, she said. 2 nights ago, someone tried to murder me outside this building. The public was encouraged to believe it was because I was investigating Damian Cross. Murmurs moved through the room. Olivia lifted a small drive. But the evidence I was given was false. It was planted. And tonight, I'm releasing the real investigation started by my mother, continued by a missing accountant, and protected by people who paid terrible prices for the truth. Hale moved. Damian moved faster. He stepped into Hale's path, blocking him from the stage. Hale smiled coldly. Careful, Damian. Everyone is watching. Damian leaned closer. Good. Olivia continued. The Avalon Art Foundation has been used to launder money through political donations, weapons contracts, and private security operations. These documents connect Victor Hale to payments made to the sniper who shot Damian Cross while aiming at me. The room erupted. Reporters shouted. Security surged. Hale's face transformed from grief to fury so quickly the cameras barely caught it. Then the lights went out. Total darkness swallowed the hall. Olivia froze. A hand grabbed her from behind. She fought, elbowing hard, but another arm locked around her waist. The microphone hit the floor. Someone screamed. Gunfire cracked through the dark. Then Damian's voice cut through everything. Olivia! Not calm. Not controlled. Terrified. She was dragged backward through a service door as emergency lights flashed red. The man holding her shoved a cloth over her mouth. Olivia twisted, biting his hand. He cursed. She kicked open a rolling cart, sending glassware crashing across the corridor. A door slammed open behind them. Damian appeared at the end of the hall, gun raised, blood already on his knuckles. The man holding Olivia pressed a gun to her ribs. Damian stopped. His eyes locked on Olivia's. She saw the calculation, the rage, the fear, the impossible restraint. Hale stepped from the shadows behind the armed man. His face was no longer kind. Touching, isn't it? Hale said. The monster and the martyr's daughter. Damian's gun remained steady. Let her go. Hale laughed softly. You still think this is negotiation? Olivia's heart pounded. Hale looked at her. Your mother was just as stubborn. She believed truth mattered more than survival. It was almost admirable. Olivia went cold. You killed her. I corrected a risk. Damian's expression became lethal. Hale saw it and smiled wider. Careful, Damian. Kill me here, and every camera in this building captures exactly what I need. The Mafia Boss executing a philanthropist while holding a journalist hostage. Your empire burns. Her story dies in the noise. Olivia looked at Damian. For once, he had no clean move. Hale had built the perfect cage. Then Olivia remembered the microphone. Not the one on stage. The small backup recorder clipped inside her dress. Still streaming. She looked at Damian and said, very softly, he confessed. Damian's eyes flicked to her neckline. He understood instantly. Hale did not. Olivia drove her heel down on her captor's foot and threw herself sideways. The gun fired. Pain burned across her side. Damian fired once. The man behind her dropped. Damian caught Olivia before she hit the floor. His arm came around her with desperate force, his body turning to shield her as his men flooded the corridor. Hale backed away, but Mara appeared behind him with a gun. Victor Hale, she said, on your knees. Hale laughed even then. You think this ends with me? Damian looked at him over Olivia's head. No, he said. It starts with you. Olivia pressed a hand to her side. Blood seeped through her fingers. Damian saw it. The world vanished from his face. No, he said, but not to anyone else. To fate, to God, to whatever had dared repeat itself. I'm okay, Olivia whispered. Do not lie to me. It's not deep. Olivia. His voice broke. This time, there was no hiding it. She reached up, her fingers brushing his jaw. He went still. For all his power, all his violence, all his control, Damian Cross froze beneath one bloody touch from a woman who had every reason to hate him. You saved me, she whispered. His eyes burned into hers. Not enough. Then he lifted her into his arms and carried her through the corridor as cameras, police, reporters, bodyguards, and ruined politicians turned to watch. Damian Cross, feared by an entire city, walked through the shattered gala holding Olivia Reed against his chest, like she was the only thing left in the world that could destroy him. And maybe she was. Olivia woke in a hospital suite overlooking the Pacific. This time, it was a real hospital. Luxury, of course. Private floor, armed guards, too many flowers. But real. Her side hurt. Her throat was dry. Her head felt full of static. She turned slowly. Damian sat beside her bed, still in his ruined suit. Blood dried at his collar. His hands were clasped together, elbows on his knees, head lowered. He looked like he had not moved in hours. Did we win? Olivia asked. His head lifted. The relief that crossed his face was so naked she almost looked away. Hale is in federal custody, he said. The stream went live. 5 networks picked it up. Morales has enough evidence to bury half the city. That sounds like a yes. It sounds like a beginning. She watched him. Was Noah moved? Damian's expression softened by 1 degree. Yes, Mara handled it personally. He's safe. Olivia closed her eyes briefly. Thank you. The words were small, but they mattered. Damian looked down. I don't deserve that. No, she said. You don't. His mouth tightened. But I'm saying it anyway. Silence settled between them. Not empty. Full. Olivia looked at the rain streaking the windows. You should go before the nurses realize there's a mafia boss bleeding in their chair. I'm not leaving. Damian. No. She turned her head toward him. His voice was calm again. But something beneath it had changed. The control was still there. The danger. The power. But it no longer felt like a wall. It felt like a man standing in the ruins of himself, refusing to step away. You can't keep doing this, Olivia said. Doing what? Turning my life into a fortress. His eyes held hers. I know. Do you? Yes. She studied him. You kept my brother from me. Yes. You watched me without permission. Yes. You lied. Yes. I don't know how to forgive that. I'm not asking you to. The answer surprised her. Damian leaned forward slightly. I have spent years deciding what the world could take from me. Territory. Money. Blood. Men. I understood all of it. Then you walked onto that red carpet with a folder full of lies and looked at me like I was the only monster in the room. I was wrong. No, he said quietly. You were incomplete. Olivia's chest tightened. I don't know what we are, she whispered. Damian's eyes dropped briefly to her hand, resting on the blanket. He did not take it. Not until she turned her palm upward. Then his fingers closed around hers with careful restraint, as if he feared his own need might hurt her. We are not clean, he said. No. We are not simple. No. I will never be the kind of man your world approves of. I know. His thumb moved once over her knuckles. But I can be honest with you, he said. Even when it costs me. I can stand beside you instead of in front of you. I can tell you the truth before you have to bleed for it. Olivia looked at their joined hands. And if I write about you? His mouth curved faintly. I expect accuracy. She almost smiled. The door opened before she could answer. Morales stepped in, carrying coffee and looking like a man who had aged 5 years in 3 days. Oh good, he said. You're awake, and he hasn't killed anyone in the hospital. Progress. Damian's expression returned to stone. Olivia smiled despite the pain. Morales handed her coffee. Your article broke the internet. My article? You wrote enough drafts for us to piece together the release. Editors are calling it the biggest corruption leak in California history. Olivia blinked. And Hale? Done, Morales said. Trying to claim Damian framed him. But it's hard to argue with your live recording of his villain speech. Don't call it that. It was absolutely a villain speech. Damian looked unimpressed. Morales grew serious. There's something else. Olivia tensed. Noah? She asked. He's safe, Morales said, and he wants to see you. The room stilled. Olivia gripped Damian's hand without realizing it. Damian looked down at their joined fingers. Then back at her. When? She asked. Whenever you're strong enough. Her eyes burned. Damian started to withdraw his hand, as if this moment did not belong to him. Olivia held on. He froze. She looked at him. You'll come with me. Something moved across his face. Hope, maybe. Or fear. You want that? I don't know what I want yet, Olivia said honestly. But Noah is alive because of you, and I need him to know the whole truth, even the complicated parts. Damian nodded once. For a man who owned half the shadows in Los Angeles, he looked undone by being invited into the light. 2 weeks later, the rain finally stopped. Olivia met her brother on a quiet beach in Oregon, beneath a pale morning sky. Noah was 16. Tall, nervous, with her mother's eyes. For one breath, they simply looked at each other across the sand. Then Noah said, Hi, Olivia. Her heart broke and healed at the same time. She crossed the distance and hugged him so tightly he laughed through tears. Damian stood far behind them near the black SUV, giving them space. He wore a dark coat, one hand in his pocket. His face turned toward the ocean. Still dangerous. Still separate. Still watching the horizon for threats, but no longer hiding the truth from her. Later, when Noah walked ahead with Mara to get coffee from a small beach cafe, Olivia found Damian standing near the water. Waves rolled in silver and blue. The wind lifted her hair. For a while, neither of them spoke. Then Olivia said, He writes like Mom. Damian looked at her. Yes. You read the letters. I made sure they were safe. That's not what I asked. A pause. Yes, he said. I read them. She nodded. It should have angered her. Maybe part of it still did. But she was learning that healing did not erase damage in a clean line. It moved strangely, like tidewater, in and out, returning, receding, leaving things behind. "I'm still going to write the book," she said. "I know. You won't like all of it. I know. You'll be in it." His gaze held hers. "Then write me as I am." Olivia looked at him for a long moment. Dangerous? Yes. Controlling? Yes. Impossible? His mouth almost curved. Often. Protective? His expression changed. The words sat between them, softer than the others. "Yes," he said. Olivia stepped closer. Damian did not move. That was what finally undid her. He did not reach, did not claim, did not turn the moment into possession. He simply waited. A man who had once controlled everything, now standing still, letting her choose. Olivia lifted her hand and touched the scar near his shoulder beneath his coat. "The bullet was meant for me," she said. "Yes." "You didn't hesitate." "No." "Why?" The ocean moved around them. Damian looked down at her, and for once there was no mask left. "Because before I knew how to love you," he said quietly, "I already knew I could not survive watching you die." Olivia's breath caught. It was not a perfect confession. It was not gentle. It was Damian. Dark. Devastating. Honest at last. She should have been afraid of it. Maybe she was. But she was also tired of pretending the safest love was always the least dangerous one. Sometimes love came like sunlight. Sometimes it came like a man in a blood-stained tuxedo stepping in front of a bullet before he knew how to say he cared. Olivia rose onto her toes and kissed him. Damian went utterly still. For 1 second, he did not touch her back. Then his restraint broke carefully. One hand came to her waist, the other rose to her face, gentle in a way the world would never believe. He kissed her like a man afraid to ask for forgiveness but desperate to be remembered as more than the worst thing he had done. When they parted, his forehead rested against hers. "You still scare me," she whispered. "I know. I still might destroy you." His thumb brushed her cheek. "I know. And you still don't get to decide my life." "No," he said. "But I would like to stand in it. If you let me." Olivia looked past him toward Noah, laughing with Mara near the cafe, toward the ocean, toward the morning light, toward the life that had been stolen, hidden, shattered, and somehow returned to her in pieces. Then she looked back at Damian Cross, the Mafia boss she tried to expose, the monster who had lied to protect her, the man who had taken a bullet meant for her, and then learned, slowly and painfully, that devotion without truth was just another cage. Olivia slipped her hand into his. "Then stand beside me," she said. Damian's fingers closed around hers. Not too tight. Not like ownership. Like a promise he was still learning how to keep. Behind them, the black SUV waited. The world was not safe. Hale's network was wounded, not dead. Other families would rise. Other secrets would surface. Damian Cross would always carry darkness in him. And Olivia Reed would always chase the truth, even when it cut. But for that one morning, on a quiet Oregon beach, beneath a sky finally clearing after the storm, the feared Mafia boss and the journalist who tried to destroy him stood hand in hand between the ocean and the future. And for the first time, neither of them looked away. Because some love stories begin with flowers. Some begin with lies. And some begin the moment a dangerous man steps in front of a bullet and whispers, with blood on his lips, that the woman trying to ruin him is the only truth he has left.